Hello and welcome to the first of my final project app progress videos. My app project is a card game that I'm adapting to digital. It's a card game that I created in real life a few years ago, and I wanted to turn it into an app. Anyway, I've already made a lot of progress on it. I wrote up all of the game data in a whole bunch of different files, things for cards, levels, characters, etc. And I created all of the assets, which was a whole bunch of photoshopping to create a bunch of cards and characters. And then I also trimmed and balanced the audio files, and I added all of those assets to the game. I already completed the navigation for all of the 5 screens that I plan on having. And the title screen and level select screen are all done, with the exception of maybe a bit of style tweaking that I may do at the end of the project. Then I've made significant progress on the suit select screen. I just have one little nagging issue and that I need to debug, plus one decision that I need to make, which of 2 different ways I want to code something. And then for the last 2 screens, the game screen itself and then the results screen, I have like the basic framework up, and the ways that I've debugged to make sure that all the parameters are getting passed correctly, all that sort of thing. What I'm going to be working on next is debug those issues to complete the suit screen, then implement the game logic, because that's where most of the coding and tricky stuff is going to be. And then one thing that'll be pretty quick is finishing the basic results screen. I just wasn't going to work too much on that until I got the game itself working. And then eventually, as time allows, I'll add Expo AV to play the music and sound effects, polish up the styles, and then if I have even more time after that, I might add some extra buttons and features, because I have some extra ideas that I'll incorporate if I have time. Anyway, enough talking about this. I'll actually show you what I have working so far. This is the first screen right here. That title is just an image, and then I have 3 buttons. I may eventually add a 4th if time allows, because I have an additional setting that I may want to add. But for now, these are the 3 options. The main thing that you can do is press select level, which takes you to the second screen, which is scrolling through all the levels that I've created. All the data for those levels is already being passed in successfully. The other buttons on this first page is you can press New Campaign, which takes you immediately to the first level, and then Random Match, which will randomly generate a level based on a whole bunch randomized parameters. Okay, when I actually select a level, I'll say this one. This screen obviously has a lot of tweaking to do. What this screen will eventually do is there will be an image that I'll load in. Then there's the little story blurb that you already see there, and then this little suit to do thing. What's happening right now is when I press the button, it's selecting a suit at random. I just need to make it so that you can pick one of the 4 different suits to use before you start the game. Then if I press start here, this is like the game screen, and what I have so far is I've successfully loaded in a card back, making sure that some of that stuff's working. And like I said, I haven't incorporated any game logic yet. Right now, I've just made sure that all of the parameters are being passed in successfully by this little debug thing here. All of this is correct. The level number 7 and all of the correct villains have been selected. So all of the data is being passed in correctly. So it should not. I won't run into issues in that regard once I start typing up the game logic. I actually don't have a way to access the 5th page right now because there's no way to finish a game. So I guess I can't show you that right now. But this video is already getting kind of long, so let me just show you what code I have, just the basics. Oh, okay. So yeah, this file is like an example of what some of the game data might look like. Yeah, this is all the levels. I already also have files for sounds and suits and cards and enemies. Anyway, here are the 5 main screen files that I have right now. So yeah, the title screen is almost done. It's pretty simple. The main thing that I have here is I have 3 different buttons. Selecting a level goes to the level select screen, whereas the new campaign skips that screen and goes straight to the suit select screen based just using level 0. I actually did start my level with a level 0 because that's like the tutorial level. And then if you press the random match button, it goes to that screen with by passing in level -1, and then my logic just in that suit select screen and the other screens, if the level's -1, that's just basically the code to say that this is randomized, so all the parameters should be random instead of going to the game data for what the levels are. Okay, then the level select screen, I have a row item for each of the levels. And I forgot to mention before that all the different colors they're actually color-coded based on the difficulty. That's pretty simple. Okay, then suit select screen, what I have working so far is all of the parameters. If basically what happens is if the level, if level equals -1, like if it's supposed to be random, then all of the parameters are randomized. Otherwise, they match the game data. And then they're being passed in successfully when you navigate. All those different parameters are being passed in that way. And what I need to do is right here actually pick the suit instead of just doing it at random. That'll be my next step for that screen. Then for the game, I have the debug block right there. With all those, I've also already got all the a bunch of the styling set up for once I start adding in more images. I already have the width and height calculated for all those different sorts of images. And then for the results screen, I have the basic framework with just some to-dos of. I just need to mostly add some buttons and make sure all of those are coded correctly. The only thing that's tricky about this screen is there's lots of if and else statements, basically. Based on whether you win, what kind of level you just completed, whether it was randomized or not. There's going to be a bunch of buttons that only show up under certain circumstances, so I have lots of that sort of figuring out to do. So anyway, most of the upgrades that I've done so far, or most of the work that I've done so far, I guess I should say, has obviously been more of the long, tedious sort of work. For my next video, I will definitely be focusing in on the game logic here and just cranking that out, because that's obviously the most important part of my app. But I've done so much of the long, tedious stuff that now I can focus in on that. So that should all be good. Anyway, thank you for watching.